With more than 25 Disney resorts to choose from, how do you know which one is really worth booking? The resort you pick isn't just where you sleep, it sets the tone for your entire Disney vacation. In this episode, Kevin Payne from Family Money Adventure and me, Danielle Desir Corbett from the Thought Card podcast, break down the best Disney resorts for adults and families too. We're sharing our favorite stays, the resorts at the top of our wish lists, and the one resort we'd choose if money were no object. Now, a quick disclaimer, between the two of us, Kevin and I, we haven't stayed at every single Disney resort. There are more than 25 after all, but together we've stayed at a number of different properties, which gives us a solid frame of reference. Also, for this episode, we're focusing on standard Disney resorts. So we won't be covering Disney Vacation Club properties. Welcome to The Thought Card, a podcast about travel and money, where planning, saving, and creativity leads to affording travel, building wealth, and paying off debt. We are the financially savvy travelers.
I love talking about Disney resorts. My family and I, we have stayed at several of them. I've actually taken a solo trip myself without the wife and kids to another resort. Some of the ones that I've stayed at more recently, because it's been a while since our kids were little. Our kids are in college and high school, so hard to give a good picture of like some of those earlier resorts. But more recently has been like Animal Kingdom Lodge, Coronado Springs, and then even Disney Swan, which was a really cool experience because it's owned by Marriott. It's a little different than regular Disney resort, but those are the main ones more recently. I've also stayed at Caribbean Beach Resort back in the day, and then a couple of the all-star hotels as well.
All right. So on the opposite end, I have fewer Disney properties because my family refuses to experiment. I'm just like, let's do Port Orleans. And they're just like, nope, this is the one, the only. So it's hard, right? It's hard when you have you go Disney often with your family and we have our favorites and we're not really expanding our horizons, but I'm trying to change that. So I am experienced at going to Coronado Springs three times in a row.
There you go.
There we go. And most recently I've been to Caribbean Beach Resort, which, spoiler alert, I really, really, really like it as well. Those are my two that I have. And like I mentioned, I do want to do more, but it's just hard to kind of break away and try something else. I feel like if I do a solo trip, I may have more freedom to kind of venture out and do my own thing versus with the family.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're a family of 6, so it's actually kind of rare for us to stay on property. We've, until really recently, have been venturing off to, vacation rentals, especially some of our trips. We've had extended family and things like that. So you need a bigger place. But even with family of 6, I know Disney has, some of the resorts have larger rooms or, can get multiple rooms, which is what happened at Animal Kingdom Lodge, is that we had 2 rooms. But part of it is just having space, to be able to spread out and have your own space when you get back from the parks and everything. So, but we do love staying on property. There's so many benefits to doing so.
I love that. And I did listen to one of your episodes where you talked about how the space is a big issue for your family. And I'm sure everyone just wants personal time, right? Everyone needs to just kind of decompress.
Everybody needs to decompress. Exactly. And, sharing a bathroom between 6 people and things like that. It's challenging.
Yes. Okay, so I think for this episode, we're going to gamify it a little bit because we have on each of our own platforms, we have blog posts you can read and deep dives and, other places. But I think we could just provide an overall, just overview of Disney resorts and kind of the things that really stand out to us. So I think for me, I really love the moderate Disney resorts, because it offers a bit of both. It offers where we can realistically budget for this vacation. Ideally, we spend a year financially planning out this vacation, but also it's provides a bit of comfort and luxury. Like for me, as my travel style, like I actually really enjoy beautiful grounds and like an accommodation that feels comfortable and a little bit of touch of luxury without the luxury like prices.
Yes.
And unfortunately, like for example, 2026, we're planning for Disney again, and we actually missed out on the retention offer. So Disney offers like once you're leaving the property, so pretty much like if you stay on property, leave the property, they'll give you a retention offer, giving you like a 30% or whatever percent discount.
Oh, yeah.
And that's huge. And that's literally as soon as we leave, we book our next vacation. But unfortunately, just like a lot of things are going on for us, and we weren't able to get that 30%. And we just haven't been able to snag a good deal yet. And I've actually now been thinking about the value resorts. So, thoughts on
Okay.
value resorts, pros, cons, and how does it like really differ, honestly, from the moderate resorts?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's been a while since I've stayed at one of them, but I do know that they're very popular. That's the path that a lot of families take, especially with younger kids. The theming is pretty incredible there. It's very Disney. You get your all-star sports and movies. I think the movies is where we stayed at. I haven't been there recently to see what it looks like, but there's really cool stuff with like Mickey and Goofy and like Mighty Ducks. It was all like pretty cool. Our kids have actually stayed there more than we have because they were in marching band and we were down there for a baseball tournament. So they've gotten to stay there a little more than we have. And they had fun, Obviously, there's different levels and there's a reason why they're, value versus the other ones. But, in terms of the rooms, maybe they're a little smaller. I feel like there's more theming, like Disney related theming versus like Caribbean Beach Resort, where it feels like you're, kind of in the Caribbean. There's still obviously elements of Disney and things like that, but you still have like access to like a food court, quick serve place, gift shops, all that stuff, plenty of big pools. One thing that Disney does really well at all the different levels is like activities on the resort. We tend to just sleep and eat breakfast there. That's about it. Like we are go to the parks for the most of the time. We'll come back and do breaks and go to the pool and things like that. So we're not really getting involved in a lot of the activities and things like that. But there's so much for families and kids and even adults to do at some of these resorts. So I think that that's something that the value resorts do really well. Whether it's having a movie by the pool while everybody's swimming in there, things like that. And obviously it costs less. And now going back to your retention thing that you mentioned, and I'm sure you know this, but maybe people listening don't know, but if you haven't been to Disney recently and you're looking for deals and you go on their, the Walt Disney World website under the places to stay tab, there's always a view special offers thing that you can click on. And a lot of times they're running like 25% off for, sometimes different things, whether you live in Florida or you're a season pass holder. But a lot of times it's like if you have Disney Plus, like you can get a big discount, which is like tons of people have that. So you don't really need much to qualify for a big deal through Disney.
Ooh, I haven't. I mean, I saw Disney Plus, but I haven't really like dug in there and did the research.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that because for me and my family, like we like to plan our Disney trips a year out where
Yeah.
we know like, a year from now we have
Yeah.
a full 12 months. But unfortunately, this year, I feel like we're not going to have that confirmed date until we kind of like get closer and closer, which is a little bit different for me. But
Yeah.
I know have you done like the long planning? And also, I know with your solo trips, you probably are doing that faster. So talk to us about like what that looks like for your planning process.
Yeah. Honestly, it's been a while since I've had a traditional trip there. I was there most recently for like a part of a media event. So I didn't do the planning. Someone else did it. So it was awesome. But the hard part was like I didn't have like the whatever it was 90 days to like book like restaurants on property and like, get if we wanted to do Genie whatever. I don't even know what anything's called. They change it all the time. Genie Plus or whatever, our passes. Like if I wanted to buy those way in advance and plan our rides out, like we couldn't do all that. So, and then my solo trip was unique just because it was just me and I just was like hardcore parks all the way, like getting up early and staying late and as a solo person and single rider, I can kind of do some things that families can't.
You can do a lot. I can
Oh
imagine you can
yeah.
do a lot.
Oh yeah. It was very cool. Able to quickly adapt and, change plans on the fly. So as far as planning goes, I mean, I love what you're doing with where you plan stuff out a year in advance. We do that a lot with plenty of our family trips. And I think Disney, if you're like, obviously, if you're doing a Disney resort, the best thing is to book through Disney instead of some third party or whatever. But I don't think that you have to put down like the full amount, like when you book it or anything. Like I think they have either payment
Start with
plans or like you
200.
can,
Yeah.
yeah, you can just put a little bit down, just kind of reserves your spot there. And by planning ahead, you and I both have kind of a similar kind of mindset as far as budgeting and saving for trips like this and making travel priorities. So by doing it so far in advance, you're able to budget and save and put towards your trip a little bit at a time, which is awesome. And then as you plan, there's so many aspects to like a Disney trip. So it can be overwhelming, especially if you've never been there before. It's its own beast as far as vacations go. So, we tend to plan all of our trips pretty well. But when you plan a Disney trip, there's just something different about it. You have like these deadlines and like things, like I mentioned, like with the, if you want to get a restaurant reservation, character dining, whatever, like you got to keep those dates in mind and lock them in on your calendar so you know when it opens and things like that.
It's
So,
a serious, okay, I don't want to overwhelm our listeners to be like,
oh yeah,
oh
yeah,
my
yeah,
gosh, you know what I mean? But I feel like every Disney trip, I get a little bit better at like the experiences that I value
yeah,
and planning for those type of experiences again. So for the last 2 years, I have actually created a spreadsheet for my family with like the first year was kind of like not color coded, nothing fancy, just kind of like a central headquarters, I would say, for my family. So we kind of all can see. I just got tired of people saying, because we travel with like a family of 7, like between our family and my in
yeah,
laws. And it's like when you get a bunch of questions about the same thing over and over, you're like, I just got to put it in somewhere for everybody to be able to see. And it's easy
yeah.
access. So the first year, I feel like it just was basic. And then last year, I color coded it. Or this year actually, I color coded it, made it super engaging, and I feel like my family used it way more. We have a
That's
packing
good.
list and like all of those things. So I think with a Disney vacation, I personally feel like there's no right or wrong way to do it. You will learn as you go. If you enjoy it and you want to
Yeah.
come back and
Oh, for
over
sure.
and over, you just get better at planning for
Yeah.
whatever you really want.
Yeah. And I think like I grew up going there, every 2 to 3 years, maybe with my family. And I feel like back then you could just show up and like, then you grab your little brochure that has the map and you're like, hey, what do you guys want to do? Like, and it was pretty easy. And like, yes, you could technically still do that, but I feel like, not to overwhelm everybody, but it's hard to just show up there and like actually get your full value for what you're paying for it. If you're going to spend the money, because it's not necessarily a cheap vacation, budget friendly vacation, you can find ways to save money here and there, but you want to get your money's worth. And one of the things that we do to kind of make it a little simpler and a little less overwhelming is whether well, at these days it's more of a text chain with our kids and stuff like that because they're kind of all over. But before we go in the months leading up to it, be like, well, we're doing this, like this is where we're going, like what's important to you, like what do you want to see, what rides are the most important for you to go on, are there any experiences, specific restaurant you want to go to, do you want to stay for fireworks, do you want to go to Fantasmic, all those things. Like from there I can kind of piece it together and figure it out, plan in some rest time, like a day off to hang out at the resort, things like that. That's an
Yeah.
easy way to kind of make it less overwhelming.
Yes. Okay. So I definitely want to talk about taking a break because I feel like when we were single, just like the two of us, me and my husband, like we would actually come back to the hotel and like take a break. We would actually be more
Yeah.
tired like when we were just like kidless. Now we're just like go, go, go from like
Yeah.
morning to night. We're opening at park open and we're staying all the way until park close. So like
Okay.
this is another reason I think why if you are staying on property, like the accommodation that you pick, it matters for a number of reasons. One of which, like, you will be going back potentially to the property to take breaks, the transportation options that they offer, even the dining options that they offer. Like,
Yeah.
these are all things because once you're in the Disney bubble and your vacation is around Disney, convenience is so important because everything that's not convenient is expensive to access or it's just time consuming too. So, like, there are
Yeah.
multiple layers and reasons as to why where you stay on property really matters.
Yeah, for sure. The transportation's a big deal because there are so many options from the buses to the monorail system to the Skyliner. I have yet to stay at a resort with a Skyliner. I know that you did with Caribbean
It's
Beach Resort.
amazing. It's amazing.
Yes, it is. That doesn't mean I didn't ride it. On my solo trip, I did go. I found a way. I was at Epcot and I took it over to eventually Caribbean Beach Resort and walked around just because I wanted to say I rode the rode the Skyliner. So it is pretty sweet. It's much better than riding a bus. But yeah, so it's such a huge area. I don't know if people realize that. And like, for instance, we just stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge, which is incredible. You have like animals, like a whole like zoo basically outside your window. But one of the ways that they're able to do that is because it's pretty far away from everything else. So, and the only option for transportation there is a bus system. So there's not like a super quick way to like get in and out of the parks necessarily from certain locations like that. Or like there's, some of them, they'll give you multiple options to, like Caribbean Beach Resort, Skyliner, you have buses. When I stayed at the Swan, you could actually walk to two of the parks. That was my favorite part is that, it's not like the shortest walk in the world, but you're putting in like 10 miles a day walking anyway. What's a little bit more? So the fact that I didn't have to like wait on anybody else or like follow a schedule for when a bus was going to show up was awesome. So you
Ooh.
could work at Hollywood Studios. I think it was Epcot is the other one that you can walk to from there. So that's cool. And that's located right by like the boardwalk too. So there's a bunch of shops over there. And I think there might be like a nightclub over there, like a dance club. So that's kind of a cool spot location to be able to walk to some things instead of relying on transportation.
I love that. That to me, like you mentioned, like you're ready. We usually clock in like 20 to 25,000 steps per day.
Yeah.
And still I don't lose weight while I'm on vacation. I don't understand the math. There's not a math thing there. But it's very true. Like I'd love for that accessibility piece that I think is like really great. Another benefit for why we personally love staying on property is just the ability to get to the parks 30 minutes earlier than everyone else at
Yes.
early act. It's like when you think about it, you're like 30 minutes? That's not a lot. It is a lot. It is a big
It's a lot.
deal. It's a big deal when you have thousands of people going to the parks at opening, which is typically like around 9 o'clock, for example. And a recent example, so we went to Magic Kingdom, and unfortunately, there's a trick that you can do. So, depending on the phone cases that you have, you will get stopped at the security booth when you're walking into the parks. So, a lot of people who don't know this or who do know this, like they'll have their phone cases out on their hands in front of them walking through the security line. So the security
Oh
sees
yeah.
that
They're
this
like
phone case,
this.
yeah, exactly, right? Like these are people who've been through the painstakingness of having to stand online. So anyway, we get to Magic Kingdom early enough to be on time for a rope drop. And for us as like, resort guests. And unfortunately, my sister-in-law gets stopped at security because she forgot. I don't even think she had a phone case. I think they just kind of pinged her for whatever reason. And we wasted like 20 minutes on security line. So we technically were walking in around maybe like 8:50 or 8:55, and we could just see the flood of people coming in because now I don't know if you know
Yeah.
this, but now they actually check to make sure that you are a Disney Resort guest. Before it was kind of like an honor system, but now they
Yeah.
actually do check before like some areas. So we were literally walking in as we saw a flood of people coming in at 9 a.m. to go to the Tron ride. So 30 minutes is a big deal. You can get a lot done in 30 minutes. So this is one of the reasons why we always try to stay on property for that
Yeah.
extra bit of time.
Yeah. I mean, if you think of it, like say you went to a concert or something, like how many people go through the gates, like when they first open in the span of 30 minutes? Like there's a incredible amount of people. So it's the same at Disney. That's funny you mentioned the security because my wife, for some reason, gets stopped almost every time. And I have like videos. I've never posted them on socials, but like where she's getting like, she's got her arms out and they're doing the wand and all this stuff. And usually it's my stuff in her bag. Like,
sorry, babe.
We have like 6, like, phone power banks, like for charging. And there's like an umbrella in there and some camera equipment and like, oops. So, but I had a really cool experience when I did my solo trip. Like I said, you could walk from the Swan over to Hollywood Studios. So I did that, and I did, even those ones had the 30 minutes. So I walked over there early and I got right in. I mean, I was one of the first ones in the park, and I mean, I wanted to make sure I rode everything. So I bought at that time the Genie Pass or whatever, and I didn't need it at all. It was such a waste of money because I literally knocked out every single big ride before anybody even got in the park. Like I was on stuff like instantly. So it was pretty cool.
I think that makes your Disney trip more enjoyable. Like as you're speaking, I can see a smile on your face. Like you're like not having to wait on long lines because you're an early bird. Like it does make a difference, and you do feel happy, fulfilled. You feel like you got the value that you really wanted out of this experience. So 100%, I do feel like that little early bird, that early, 30 minutes, it's a really big deal. It's a really big deal, which I think is a good time to like switch gears a little bit and like actually talk about our favorite resorts. What do you think?
Oh yeah, for sure.
This is like its own episode on just like why you should be staying at like the Disney properties, which is awesome. All right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. Okay. So let's start off with best pool based on your experience.
Ooh.
I'm going to go first because to me, I have a favorite. So 100%, I feel like Coronado Springs has the best pool or one of the best pools. I believe their pool is one of the biggest on all of the Disney resort properties as well. So it kind of reminds me of in Puerto Rico, El Moro, which is like a huge fort. So they have like it looks like a replica of that, but it's Spanish themed and the pool is huge. It is beautiful, a long slide attached to it. And also for our little ones, they have a small adjacent kiddie pool where it's not even like there's no submerging yourself in water. It's literally just like the ground and you have like little water sprinkles. So it's perfect for the little itty bitty babies as well. So for us, it's a huge draw, which is why we love staying at the Coronado Springs. Also, Coronado Springs they have different sections of their properties and each section has their own pools as well.
Yes.
So, which I love. Like, I really love that because there are some times where you want to do the bigger pool, but then sometimes it's kind of maybe really late and you just want to take a quick little dip. So you don't have to walk all the way to the main area of the property. You could just kind of stay in your section. So having that versatility for me makes Coronado Springs like hands down favorite pool.
Yeah, and the cool thing about that too is that, sometimes because it is the bigger pool and it has more theming, it's busier. So if you want to just swim without worrying about it being so crowded or whatever, like those other smaller pools are perfect. And I think like we stayed at Coronado Springs, I don't remember, we walked down there for sure. I don't think we actually went swimming because our anniversary trip it was kind of a quick trip and we obviously didn't have any kids and things like that. But the cool thing is that it has there's like the dining right there, beach bar and, some food. And then I think, is that where their playground is right there, right by the pool? And it's pretty sweet.
It's like an entertainment complex because you have the pool, you have the arcade, which we love to do. We love going there.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
You have the playground for the kids. You have the dig site. It's called the dig site. So you have the dig site.
Yeah.
So there is so much in that area. There's also right there is like a sandy area if you want to play volleyball as well. So that's really, really cool. And I think that area in general is one of the best places if you're looking for like that Instagrammable photo spot at night because you'll see the
Yeah.
Grand Destino Tower all lit up. So lots to do in that area. And I will
Yeah.
say that that beach bar right next to the pool, it is my favorite restaurant on property. We'll talk about food, but literally, like, this is my favorite place to eat. I mean, they have like this
Yeah.
shrimp dish, which is like absolutely delicious. And compared to like sit down restaurants, it's cheaper if you just go to kind of like grab
Yeah.
some like nachos or something quick. So if you're looking for affordability, but also really good dining experience, that is really good as well.
Yeah. I love my experience at Coronado Springs. It's such a beautiful property. One of the nice things about not all of them are set up that way. I think Coronado Springs is done really well where all that stuff is by each other. Like a lot of resorts have all those things, but the proximity to it all being around there, especially if you have, kids with you, like that's just chef's kiss right there for that. But, a lot of them have the, side pools for the different sections and things like that. And they even had that kind of at Disney Swan, which is what I will rank as my favorite pool. Probably
Nice,
because I
nice.
was by myself and there was no kids like to worry about their stuff or anything. I just throw my earbuds in and just chill by the pool. But like kind of similarly, they had some smaller pool and then they have a really long, like just huge long pool. And there's a grotto and I think there's like a waterfall and a hot tub and a small slide there. So perfect for me. And I was able to walk. I did a little exploring because it's close to the Disney, its sister property, Disney was a Dolphin. And then the Swan Reserve is across the street. And I went over and checked out those. I'm trying to remember. I think you might have access to those pools. I'm not positive on that. So if you're going to stay there, double check that.
No coding, no coding. Yes, yes.
But I did walk over there and ate in like their food courts and stuff. So, and no one stopped me. So I think you can do that. I just like the grotto and the waterfall and all that stuff. It looked so cool.
For sure, for sure, for sure. And I think this is kind of like a good thing to mention is if you're staying at a Disney property, which has like a sister site or very, very close to another property, this gives you a chance to kind of like take a peek to get the vibe and potentially put that on your wish list for futures. So, for example, at the Caribbean Beach Resort, it's right next to the Riviera. And we were really curious to go in and see like what it looked like. And, long story short, we're going to stay at the Caribbean Beach. That's better for our family and our vibe. But I think that offers you a chance to just kind of take a peek. It may be harder. Like, for example, if you're staying at Coronado Springs, it's kind of alone on its own. So you have to intentionally plan to go to another property, which could be really difficult as you're like I've always wanted to do this, like, on Instagram and TikTok, you see like these videos of like
know exactly
hopping the rail and just like
hopping the resorts.
And then I'm just like, babe, do you want to do this? And he's like, no, I don't want to do this. In fact, I know. I'm like, come on, we could try.
I totally would do that.
I would do it alone. I would totally do it for sure.
Which is interesting because, like, say you go down there and you rent a car or whatever, you try to drive through the front gate of resorts, like they will stop you and like check to see if you're a guest there, or the only other way really is if you have a reservation at one of their hotels. Other than that, like you're going to have a hard time getting in there to do what you're saying. You go check it out. Whereas like you hop on a resort bus, or the monorail, and you can kind of navigate your way around. Or if you do have a car, you could go park at Disney Springs, for example, and then hop on their bus system. I don't know if they're checking.
I don't think they check. I don't think
things or anything like
that. Could change, but for now.
But there's a way to do it. It takes up some time, but there's ways to go. If you're staying at a resort though, and you're right next to another one, like when I stayed at the Swan, like I mentioned, I went to those couple, but you also, as you're walking to the parks, you go past whatever's on the boardwalk there. It looks cool. That pool looks cool too. I was like getting jealous of that one as I walked past. I was like, I wish I was over here. So Every time I see a resort, I'm like, oh, I got to stay there next. And
Yes,
kind of like you,
listen,
like,
yes,
nope,
yeah.
we're not. We're just staying the
It's
same one.
tough. It's really tough. I
Yeah.
hope our families are listening to this episode and they open their horizons to consider other
Yeah, for sure.
properties.
Yes. Yeah, they should be listening.
They should be listening, right? I want to move on
Yeah.
to best Disney World resort for kids. I'll go first. So I'll
Yeah.
hands down, I feel like Caribbean Beach Resort really wowed me. Like I would go online, go on YouTube, because that's how I research stuff a lot of times. I go on YouTube, listen/watch videos, and people kind of clown on Caribbean Beach Resort. I think that they're remembering before the renovation what it
Yeah.
looks like. And you're kind of seeing that spill over. Like they're not explicitly saying totally negative things about it, but it was the vibe. So when I actually got there to Caribbean Beach, I was just like, this is why you take all these advice with a grain of salt, because people just have different thought processes and experiences, but it really wowed me and surprised me. Sure, there are things we could talk about, like it being a sprawling property. So it is the largest Disney resort property. So keep that in mind. But for me, it's so beautifully manicured. It makes walking like so easy. It's scenic and it reminds me of Bermuda. So Bermuda has these like
Okay.
colorful painted homes with these white latch roofs, and it just screams Caribbean. It just screams like just relaxation. And so I personally feel like Caribbean Beach Resort for me is the most kid friendly. The restaurant, pretty much the lobby and the food court are together in the same building. So that makes it super easy. There's also a bus stop right in front of the lobby as well, or right near there. So everything is just so compact. The kids' pool, the main pool area, they have this absolutely stunningly beautiful playground on its own island. What?
That's cool.
That is so, so cool. So for me, I think that Caribbean Beach really surprised me with the amenities that it offers. And I'm not even talking about Skyliner access, which gets you to the park like super fast, but just in terms of the amenities for the kids, I think it's very kid centric without being super Disney themed. I think to
Yeah.
me, I like properties that are Disney run, but not super Disney themed, which is why
Yeah.
Caribbean Beach and Coronado both really work for us. So I'm going to take a pause here, but I feel like whatever's on YouTube is not giving Caribbean Beach Resort enough props for how really good it is.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I grew up going there and I loved it then. And when I went over and kind of walked around, I loved it now. Like, and I totally see what you're saying with the, the color buildings. It's like very inviting. It's like almost like a energetic, like the music, the vibes there are really cool. I think when I was a kid, it was more kind of like pirate looking as opposed to now. And that pool was rocking when I walked past there. So I think that's great. I mean, our kids are older now, so I kind of look at it in a different light. And I would say like we had a really good experience recently at Animal Kingdom Lodge. Just the fact that there's animals there, I had some unique experiences because of that. I think that resort could cater to just about any age, but my teens enjoyed it a lot. But I think actually they might have enjoyed the Swan had they gone with me. There's a few things there that might be unique. I know Caribbean has like a Joffrey's coffee, like kind of outside of it.
Another reason why Caribbean.
Yeah. So
it's true. It is true. Yep.
Yeah. The Swan had like, I think it was called Java as like a coffee house inside of the resort. So I know our kids love getting their iced whatever with all the sprinkles and all that stuff. So like, and I love coffee. So I was there all the time. So that's a cool aspect of it. And then just the fact that it's like I said, like you could walk to places, you could walk to the boardwalk. There's shops over there. Teens want to adventure and kind of explore. So I think that, had they been with me, that's something that they would have done. Like when we come back during our breaks, my wife usually goes and just crashes and takes a nap. I head to the pool and our kids kind of do whatever they want, hop on their phones, whatever, take a nap. but I think that they would love exploring, or even maybe going together as a group and walking to one of those other parks, especially if we had like a hopper pass or something where you could switch parks. So I think for me, and just the fact that they had multiple pools, and, it was more than just a pool, like the hot tub, the grotto, the, waterfall, all these things like that just made it like, I think that kind of goes along with the, like a teen, college age sense of like independence and able to walk around without having their parents with them
the entire time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Not
Oh
that
my
they
God.
don't like us.
But they need their space, they need to,
They need their space.
They need their space.
Yeah.
Understandable, for sure. So I want to piggyback off on the transportation. Which Disney resort do we feel like has the best transportation options to the theme parks? I'll let you go first because I've been like hogging the mic for the beginnings.
Man, I'll be honest, like I haven't liked the transportation options for the places I've stayed more recently. We've talked about Caribbean Beach Resort. I haven't stayed there recently. Just the fact that they have the Skyliner there puts that ahead of everything. So Swan, Animal Kingdom Lodge, those ones are only bus. That's the only option. And actually Swan is different because it's a Marriott property. The bus is not a Disney bus. They use a third party company. And I actually found on that trip, which was my solo trip, is that the schedule it's not stuck to as well as you would expect with Disney. And I actually found it at some of the parks, it was hard to find the bus just because it wasn't as well marked and it didn't have, all the Disney stuff on the side of it with the big sign that tells you, where it's going. So there were a couple times where I was like, I don't want to wait anymore. And I actually just got a lift and went back. I don't think I would necessarily do that if I was with my family. We would have figured it all out, but I was impatient. So I haven't had great experience with that. I did enjoy the Swan just because it could, like I mentioned before, you could walk to places. I found that to be super exciting. And then from there, then you can hop on a Skyliner, a monorail, whatever. I've always wanted to stay somewhere that has like the monorail right at the resort. I don't think that I ever have
like
yet,
the Contemporary. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It just goes straight through the property.
Yeah. I'm sure like I kind of like you where you were reading like people kind of bashing Caribbean Beach Resort. I've seen stuff about that, Polynesian, whatever. Like I just think people just find something to complain about with everything. But I would love to stay there. I don't care if it's not cool or not anymore. It just looks cool. Our media event happened in that building, so I got to kind of get a little behind the scenes in some of it. But I grew up hopping on at the Ticket and Transportation Center and the monorail, which is actually my favorite ride at Disney is the monorail. I love riding that thing. I like doing the little voice when the doors shut, all that stuff. My kids probably are annoyed. Doesn't matter. But, like, driving through a hotel, like that's cool. Like
super cool. Super duper super cool. Well, I'm going to co-sign and let you know that Caribbean Beach Resorts Skyliner access is incredible.
Yeah.
It is so useful, so handy, and I'm going to detail exactly why. So the Skyliner access, it's kind of like, I would say, perhaps like halfway through the property. So you kind of have to walk a bit after you kind of are, the lobby area. But like you mentioned, there is a Joffrey's Coffee, big fan, huge fan. We have to start our day with Joffrey's Coffee. You don't have to necessarily get the coffee in your hotel room because you do get Joffrey's Coffee there, by the way. So having it there is a great kind of like pick me up before you hop on your ride. Now, the Skyliner access can get you to Riviera, which is the next door property, which is awesome. And it could also get you to Hollywood Studios and Epcot. Now, for Epcot, you don't have to go to the front entrance with the Skyliner access. It takes you to the beginning of the World Showcase. Huge time saver. So you are literally starting your journey in France or Canada
France,
or
right
Canada,
by Remy.
depending. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. By the Ratatouille area. And to me, it was amazing to have that shortcut, especially during the Flower and Garden Festival.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was literally like, I don't have to go to the ball. I don't have to go to like all this extra walking. It's just boom, let's get some food, let's get some drinks, and let's start it. So I think that to me is really awesome. And when I was traveling with my mom and my mother in law and my son, my mother in law was nervous about riding the Skyliner. Luckily, she was like, we'll give it a shot and see how we like it. It is high. You know what I mean? You're kind of suspended
Yeah.
in the air. And even for her, she really enjoyed it. And she was like,
That's
now she
cool.
tells everyone, she's like, nope, we have to ride the Skyliner. Like it's just an easy
Oh,
go
yeah,
to.
yeah.
Another awesome thing about the Skyliner is during the fireworks, which I believe Epcot fireworks, if you're on the ride timing it correctly on the Skyliner, you can see the fireworks from the ride Skyliner. So that's really awesome.
That's cool.
Where, especially for my son, like if we didn't have our muffler headphones on, it's too much. So being on the Skyliner gives us like a little bit of a space so we could still see, enjoy it, which is really great. So yeah, it's everything you want for convenience. And I wish there was actually more park access. So get me to Magic Kingdom on the Skyliner. Get me everywhere on the Skyliner. So
Yeah.
I wish there were more, but for the two parks, it's awesome. It's really, really awesome.
Yeah. The transportation's a pretty big deal. I mean, the accessibility to the different parks and distance from the parks and just whether they have more than one option. Because if everybody's pushed to one option, then like you kind of stuck. And like the buses they're not as bad as you get older, like, but I remember doing the all-star resorts and riding the buses and having strollers that had to fold up and like somehow carry them on there. And I was
That's
just
me
like,
right now.
this
Yes.
is,
This is a lot of work.
depending on when you leave for the park and when you come back, like it can be packed and like there's like standing room only. So it can be a hassle. And it's just, I mean, the same with the monorail. There's generally pack those things pretty good. I'm sure with the Skyliner, the line can get backed up, at busier times to get on one of the little cars. The good thing is that you can go on to Disney World's website in each resort, like their kind of overview is really well done to where you can, I think right on the hotels, the resorts like homepage, it shows you exactly what the transportation options are. You can look on a map to see where it's located at. Because I think they break them down like there's Magic Kingdom resorts, there's Animal Kingdom resorts, things like that. So they make it easy. You just have to do a little research. And part of that, is knowing what's important to your family. And, you can't, obviously, it's hard to plan everything out, especially if you've never been there before. But if you have an idea of like what's going to happen, like say, like your son's pretty young, like you have a feeling like at some time he's going to want a nap. Like you guys are going to want a nap, like having an option to really quickly get back, like in 10 minutes, without it being such a hassle. Like when it gets up to like, oh, it's going to take me like 45 minutes to get back. Like then you're debating, like, do I actually want to go back? Because then you're thinking 45 minutes there, 45 minutes back. And like, it's like half my day's gone. Like, so it's a big deal.
I think that's the reason why like we choose not to go back to rest. It's an option, we know, but I think just the mental thought of like the time it takes to take the bus, go to the property, which is already large, you have to walk there, do your thing, do the same thing over again. Sometimes for us, we're just going to troop it. Like baby's in the stroller, taking a nap, we're here for 7 days, so you figure it out. You figure it out.
Yeah, and there's ways to do that in the park too. I mean, you're not going to lay down on a bench and like take a full nap, but like your son's probably taking a nap though while you guys are pushing around. But there's air conditioned rides, there's like restaurants, there's places to, there's snacks when you get hangry.
There's benches,
there's ways to do that.
Just for sure. Just sit down and
when we
close your
stay
eyes.
off property, like we're not taking a break. Like our break is we take a day off. Like we'll do 2 days parks,
a full day,
take
exactly.
a day off. And then, so that's how we do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. We're going to move on to dining options. Which resort do you feel like has the best places to eat on property?
Oh man, that's a tough one.
This is tough. This is the tough one.
It's tough, but it's tough for me because we have a tendency, like our dining, when I think of dining, I think of in the parks. Like if we're staying on property, we'll get up and have breakfast at the resort, besides like quick service, like the food court, whatever it is. I would say like, even though I didn't eat there, I have a feeling that Animal Kingdom Lodge is like far and away the best experience. From people who've stayed there, I've heard nothing but good things about like the authentic African cuisine at some of the restaurants there. I know that when we went, it was kind of last minute for the media event, and we tried to see if we could get in, and we couldn't get in anywhere, even for like the buffet for breakfast. So like
What?
it was like that's the spot. Like, and
Wow.
Animal Kingdom's cool too. Animal Kingdom Lodge is actually split into two different parts. There's two different sections. I forget which. We stayed in like the main part, which is like I think the original, or it's where more of the like the resort, whereas the other side I think is more your Disney Vacation Club. But everything, it smells so good. They would have like live music sometimes with like a group of drummers like going through. It was awesome. Like great experience. We only ate at the quick service, but even that was really good. I think it's that though, the quick service stuff is pretty much the same. It's not the same setup, but it's the same food at most of the resorts. So I think that Animal Kingdom Lodge is probably up there. The only other things, I've never stayed there, but the Port Orleans, I know that they have like the beignets and things like that. Like I'd be all over sweets and things like that.
All right. I think this is where the limitations of my personal experience will definitely
Yeah.
shine, because I haven't had a chance to eat at all of them. I don't know if I could say there's a best. Because, for example, Caribbean Beach, I really love the food court. As basic as it
Yes.
is, they have burgers and fries, they have a coffee shop, they have just a variety of options without it being super overwhelming, which I really appreciated and I really loved.
Yeah.
I think also Coronado Springs has more variety. So you have the Toledo Tapas steak and seafood Dahlia Lounge area all the way at the top of the Casino Tower. So you're going to see beautiful views of the Disney parks. You can see the Epcot fireworks. It's more high end and it definitely closes up. So if you're not on the reservations, like you're going to definitely have a hard time getting in. So for us, it's still like on our wish list.
Yeah.
And they also have like the Three Bridges Bar and Grill, which is, I would say, is really great for a laid back sangria drinks kind of vibe, more romantic, open air kind of thing. So that is great for that. But I would say from my experience where I can go and I never had anything bad is going to be the Siesta Cantina, that little beach hut right by the pool. Like their nachos and their shrimp tacos are just, my gosh, like we start our trip with that meal. We end it with that meal. So it never fails for us. So I'm going to say the Siesta Cantina is the
Yeah.
best quick service restaurant that I've gone to during my two resorts. Now, I will also say that for me, I get really tired of food really fast. So if I have like Spanish/Mexican food every day, I will get so hangry that there's not variety. So I think that's one of the things about Coronado Springs is like, just understand that there's a lot of Mexican and Spanish influence there for your restaurants. So what we do now is we actually do the food court and we actually just go to Disney Springs because we're just like, we're going to
Okay.
hop on the
Yeah. Yeah.
bus and just go Disney Springs and you have a plethora of way more options. And we kind of sprinkle in Coronado Springs resort restaurants here and there when we want to. And now also it's cheaper. Like it's actually like more affordable for us to just go to Disney Springs real quick and grab sandwiches or grab, something quick and enjoy that experience than it is to sit down and have a, maybe not so great or just kind of like, okay. So I'm going to say yes to Coronado Springs, but no in the
Yeah.
same way.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like there's just pros and
Yeah.
cons.
I don't remember the name of it. There's whatever restaurants there that's right next to their like food court.
Oh yes, I have it here. Maya Grill.
Yeah, I've eaten there. That was pretty good. On my solo trip at the Swan, I think it was called Garden Grove, was one of the restaurants there. Really excellent breakfast there. I'm a big breakfast guy, so just really well done. I didn't get the like buffet or anything. I spent money. And I was like, it's just me. I'm going to do this. So that was for sure. Really well done. It's kind of funny is that you mentioned Disney Springs, is that me personally, I get less variety by going there because I have a kid who is so tied to that Rainforest Cafe there that if we end up at Disney Springs, that's
You're
where we're
gonna have
eating.
to
Like,
go.
there's
Oh, so you're
no,
like, skip it. We're
there's
not going.
no, I was like, oh my gosh, like if I have another, like, I mean, it's all right, but like, it's no better than going to like Applebee's or something. It just has like animals. So
Oh
it's
my
like,
gosh.
come
We
on,
have our
kid,
favorites, right? We have our
you're
favorites.
20 years old now. Like we can move on to an adult restaurant now.
Oh
But he
my God.
loves it. He just has good memories from there. And it's probably why, the same reason why you guys stay at the same resort. Like, it's not just comfortable, but it's like brings you remember all these things, good experiences you had there. So
I think another reason why sometimes we have like this loyalty to a resort is because we know what to expect. We worry that if I go to
yeah,
another property that it will be a disappointment. And I
yeah,
understand that frame of mind, but I also feel like if I didn't stay at the Caribbean beach most recently, I wouldn't have had this different but also incredibly amazing perspective. So I'm going to say I understand both sides. I understand
yeah,
wanting to have that nostalgia, the loyalty, like you love this resort, you know what to expect. But there's also lots of hidden gems and surprises if you try to stay at another property. And if you don't like it, next time you know, okay, perhaps it's not the
yeah.
best fit for us for next time.
Yeah, and that's honestly, that's not even just a Disney thing. That's, we have friends who every year go to the same beach vacation on the East Coast, stay at the same place. I've been doing that for like a decade, which is totally cool, but they are not switching it up. And I think that it's easy to get into being comfortable, and vacation, even if it's budget friendly, is still a pretty significant investment. So
Absolutely.
you know that you're going to get your value by going to the same place. Like, it's going to be a similar experience. You know what to, like you said, you know what you're going to get. So we've been trying to venture out. And I realize our kids, like, they actually like that. They like seeing new places and new things and staying at a different place, even if they have a favorite. So even within the parks, they're riding different rides, asking to eat at a different resort or a different restaurant now. So it's been pretty cool.
I love that. I really do love that. Okay, final question. Final question for the both of us. What's at the top of our wish list? If money were not an object, where would you love to stay? I can go first. I can say, okay, to prepare for this episode, I watched 2 videos just to kind of get a visual of like all the options out there. Again, there's 25 resorts, so there's a lot of options. I'm going to say I'm a Moana girl. I love
Ooh,
Moana. So I'm going to go with the Polynesian Village Resort. That is at the top of my wish list. It is themed after the Pacific Islands. It looks like a tropical paradise, lots of greenery, waterfalls by the front lobby. Rooms are inspired by my favorite character, Moana. It just looks absolutely stunning. Rooms look luxurious, monorail access to Magic Kingdom and Epcot. If money were not an object, that's where I would stay and probably just live permanently. Yeah. How about you? How about you, Kevin?
I'm on their website right now. I totally forgot. Disney Swan actually has a boat that you can take too. So going back to the transportation, they have a boat
Interesting.
that you can take. So that is pretty cool. I did take that several times. But anyway, it's so hard to pick one as we've grown up going there for a long time and then hopping on that monorail and driving past all these places. Like one day I will stay there. And so I'm right there with you. That Polynesian Village Resort has always been on my list, and it's just looks cool. It looks like it has awesome vibes. Like, I can't even imagine like sitting poolside listening to music there. Like, it would be so nice. I think that they have like really good restaurants. I think that they probably have Dole Whips there right on property.
Yes, yes, they do. They do. Mhm.
So I would say that's up there. Always pass by the Grand Floridian, and it just looks like it costs a lot. And
Oh, yeah.
that makes me want to stay there.
Oh, Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I think the beach club is right there with it. And then I think maybe it's the Boardwalk Inn. No, maybe it's the beach club that is the one that I walked past. It's probably both of them that are over in that boardwalk area, but they both look cool. So that didn't narrow it down at all. Basically all of them.
All of them.
I don't know.
All of them.
They should just have a package where you could just stay at all 25 of them for like one night at a time for 25 days.
Oh my gosh. Disney, are you listening? Are you
I'm
listening?
sure someone has done that. Like, I will volunteer myself.
I'll volunteer as
to do
tribute. Okay. Me, tribute.
Yeah.
I will do a research purposes.
I will eat all the food and swim in all the pools and be the resident expert for you guys.
Listen, the Grand Floridian looks, I'm just on their website as well. I'm like, ooh, that looks super nice. It looks super, wow.
Now that I'm looking at all these deluxe ones, I stayed at Disney's Wilderness Lodge. I forgot about that. That was a long time ago.
Oh.
It was actually growing up, and we were supposed to stay at the Caribbean Beach Resort, and they contacted us because it was like the year that they were opening the Wilderness Lodge, and they were like, hey, do you want to, like, we'll upgrade you for free to that place to check it out. So
super cool.
So I'm old, so it's been a long time, but it's a deluxe
Rejog your
resort,
memory.
so
yes.
Yeah. I do remember enjoying it. So,
well, as honest as the Polynesian, I would love to stay there. I think for 2026, I'm probably going to do an All-Stars. Probably. That's just what it is this year. I think I missed my retention offer, and I'm going to have to, my husband and say always like, you're paying dearly for this mistake. It was a very costly mistake. So I'm probably going to do an All-Star. Where are you going to stay next? If you stay on property, where would you stay next? Realistically, where would you stay next?
Probably Caribbean Beach.
Okay.
Just because it's been a long time. I'm trying to think. I don't think my family's ever been anywhere where they've had the Skyliner access. So I think that they would enjoy that a lot.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, like, it's like a mini ride because, like, it's moving. Like, isn't just like stop and wait for you to get in. It is moving. So it was so much fun. Oh, and the last thing I didn't tell you, Skyliner, you don't have to put down your stroller. You don't have to compress it.
Ooh.
You don't.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. There's a lot of room in there.
A lot of room. You just walk in there with your stroller, and even some double strollers, potentially some double strollers. So just take a look at that. But yeah, so I think Caribbean Beach, gotta circle back and let us know how it goes, because I think you'll have a really great time. Yeah.
And, as you're looking, I think that the value resorts, you also have like the Art of Animation and a Pop Century, which Pop Century has Skyliner access to. So, and Art of Animation too. So both of them are value resorts with that access. Nice. That is cool.
Very, very cool. Well, we hope that you're dreaming about your next Disney vacation and thinking about where exactly you want to stay on property. Let us know. You can leave us a comment on Spotify, by the way, whether you're going to listen to us on Family Money Adventure or the Thought Card. Let us know. Leave us a comment. Any aha moments that you've had, anything that's inspiring you for your next vacation. We'd love to hear it. Kevin, thank you. A live episode. This was so much fun.
This was so much fun. Yes. I look forward to getting some feedback from people, even if you want to tell us what we said wrong. If we picked the wrong resort. If there's a better resort with a better pool, let us know. We will join you there with a little umbrella drink, and we will gladly admit we're wrong.
Absolutely. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Guys.